Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Just Two Brothers podcast, where we will be sharing our journey so far and some of the simple tactics we've learned that have helped us become great leaders. What up, everybody? Welcome back. Another episode of the Just Two Brothers podcast. We're going to continue our conversation on active listening this week. We left off last week with just a little footnote that we were going to have some questions for you, and we got those out towards the end of last week and then over the weekend. Gave everybody a chance. We are recording on Monday today for this episode on Wednesday. So we gave you guys a chance to kind of respond and see what you guys thought about some of the questions we posted. I had a few people text me and ask me questions about why we were asking the questions we were asking, but I never did get any responses from that. We got a couple on Facebook, so we'll share those throughout as we go through these questions. But yeah. What's up, Joe? How are you?
I was good. How are you?
Doing all right. I got registered for the Polar Plunge last week. Did you happen to get signed up yet?
No, I need to do that.
So in case you were wondering and you are in the West Michigan area, we are doing the Polar Plunge in support of Special Olympics. It is February 10th at Fifth Third Ballpark. I've been posting links on Instagram and Facebook on the story, whatever. Jump in there and click on the link. You can donate to the team. Gets us toward, we've set a goal of $500, so it'll help us reach that. And if you're in the area, you'd like to jump with us, you can register and join the team. We are the J2B Plungers. Again, links been posted on Instagram and Facebook and our story, so make sure to be checking that out. Follow us if you aren't already. We are Just Two Brothers Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. J2B Podcast at J2B Podcast on X. So yeah, you got to get signed up for that, Joe. It's coming up quick.
Yeah. Yep. We'll get signed up for that.
Well, let's move in to our questions. Again, we posted these starting last week and then again over the weekend. Gave everybody one last chance on Monday. So, first one. What happens when leaders don't listen?
Did we get a response from that?
We did.
On that one?
That one.
Why don't we start with that? So
the response on Facebook was from Ben Stock. He's actually a former coworker of mine. Somebody who's actually got a podcast that we're going to hook up with here soon and get something figured out. But he said, when his supervisor doesn't listen, he goes around my supervisor and goes straight to the source of what I need. If I need supplies, I go to the supplier of what I need. Makes no sense to me to keep asking someone who isn't keen on helping me when I need it, or why bother him with something that doesn't concern them. They have other things to deal with. So basically what he's saying is he's made to feel not important, and then he doesn't want to continue to burden his leader with meaningless tasks, which aren't meaningless because they are important to that person. That leader just isn't taking it seriously enough. But it shows you what starts to happen with the team.
It's funny that Ben said that, because I have written down what happens when leaders don't listen. I have frustration, feelings of not being important, and the loss of respect.
Yeah, exactly.
Which that's exactly what I heard from Ben's answer.
Yeah, exactly. Almost verbatim.
What do you think?
I think it's spot on. Your team loses respect for you, and you can forget to take care of things. I've done it for years, but it's how you respond. You can forget, but
when you
go
forget
take
things,
care of it. Yeah. Oh, all the time I get super busy with stuff, and like I said before, I can come up with all kinds of excuses, but at the end of the day, I'd forget. But it's how you respond to your failure, your mistake. If you turn right around and go take care of it for them, you're not going to lose that much respect. If you keep doing things, it's going to eventually wear on your team, and they're not going to trust you. But yeah, it's all in how you respond.
right? And if you drop the ball, if you forget about something, then just own it and
Exactly.
yep, that's my bad. I'll take care of it. But
yeah, otherwise they just start to feel not important, and okay, they're going to go to where they do feel important.
right.
And as their leader, that should be you. So yeah, I think Ben nailed it. You're going to lose your team.
Absolutely.
I did ask in response how he responds to that when he has to escalate. So what might that conversation look like when you go around your leader to a one-up or whatever it is? He said, "Hey, I'm coming to you because my supervisor will say no or will just ignore my request or deem it unimportant at this time until it's a need." I liked it. I did question the ending there with the leader not taking it important or not making it important until it's a need, because if it's not a need, that conversation needs to be had between the leader and the person that they're dealing with.
Yes, because
so
there
they're
needs
not
to be
going
an
to
understanding of why it's not a need.
exactly. Why aren't you going to do this for them? Otherwise, they think you're just dropping the ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, there should be a conversation if it's not a need as to why and what's going to be done in the meantime, or yeah, what a different solution may be. Another one is, or B to that would be, I would argue that it's not a need because they are asking for it. Whatever it is, your team is asking for help. If they're asking
Right.
for it, who are you to tell them they don't need that? Now, again, it does depend on what it is. It might be some new part that you need to buy to do some improvement, and maybe it's too expensive and it's not a need right now. We can work around it, or we don't need to do that right now. Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. It's not an
Yes.
immediate need right now, but if they are asking for something, chances are they probably need it. So you as the leader need to rethink how you are approaching that. You are not considering their needs, their opinions.
Well, and if somebody asks you for something, whether it's a new equipment or for an opinion on something or to back them on something, if you tell them no, there should be more than just a no. There should be an explanation as to why. Why am I telling you no to this equipment that you want? Because as far as the cost effectiveness of this, it doesn't make sense to spend X amount of dollars if it's not going to make us that amount of money back. So it doesn't make the cost to
Right.
cost to profit. Am I using the right terms there?
The return on investment.
Yeah.
ROI.
That's what I was looking. Yep. So if there's not enough return on investment, you should be able to explain that to whoever's asking for new equipment. Like,
Right.
hey, it doesn't make sense for us to do that. Don't just tell them no, because that's where there's a lack of communication on the manager's part of Why are you willing to share that information? Just tell them it doesn't make sense for us to, and this is why.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to do a little bit more work, but it's saving us money in all in all, making the company more money.
Right. And at
which
the end
is
of the
going
day,
to pay off
that,
for you and however.
yeah, and that little bit of information is buy-in for that team member. Now they're owning part of the whole process. You've given them a little bit of quote unquote inside information into how the inner workings of what's going on. They're now taking ownership of that and go, oh, okay. So now they're going to start looking at things in different ways and go, okay, how can I get that ROI and get done what I need to? So you start challenging them and empowering them to think differently, and it's an easy response. Just explaining something to them.
Right.
That's where power is tricky. People think they need to hold on to information in order to stay in power, but if you're that
insecure.
Yes, exactly. If you're that insecure, you have bigger things to worry about. Like I said, the whole purpose of a leader position like this is to replace yourself.
Yes.
You are building.
If you're that insecure, you're not stable enough to be a leader.
Exactly. I want to spin this real quick. So you're talking about explaining when telling no to your team. How do you approach that at home? If you have to tell
tricky
your
with kids.
No. That's why I wanted to ask.
My kids no. Tell my kids no all the time.
Why? So how do you answer the infamous why? Because you know it's coming. Whenever you tell your kid no, why is coming? Have you said because I said so?
No, I don't like because I said so. Because they don't get anything other than dad's an authoritarian that's going to just make decisions and we have to deal with it regardless. I'm going to give you an explanation. My kids don't like my explanations because I tend to go into more in depth of an explanation than necessary.
Oh, we are brothers, huh?
But I only do that because I want you to have the same understanding that I have.
Yep.
That's it. It's not because I think anybody's stupid. It's not because I want to bore you with details. It's because this is the information and the knowledge that I have on why I'm making this decision, and this is why I'm making it. There's certain things that are age appropriate as to why an explanation is given. So if my kids ask me certain reasons about why they can't watch certain movies or why I won't tell them what certain things mean, it's because you're not old enough to understand that right now, but when the time comes, I will explain it to you. And usually as long as there's some sort of an explanation to it, the kids are fine. They just want something other than I told you. And sometimes they'll ask me why I said no on something, and I'll think about it, and I'll say, you know what? I made a bad decision on that. And that's my fault. I'm sorry, but yeah, why don't we do whatever I told you no? And that's, in my opinion, that's okay, because we all make bad decisions. Right. We all say no about things that we probably, if we would have taken the time to ask more questions, we probably would have said yes to. Because you could tell your team at work no about something that they're asking for, and it could be benefiting everybody. Like you were saying, there could be something that they want, new equipment. My kids could be trying to build something to play with me or have an idea of something they want to do with me. And if I tell them no without even asking questions or without giving it a chance, there's going to be things that I'm going to miss out on because I'm just shutting it down.
Right.
So Yeah, I try to explain. If I have to say no, I try to make it a point to explain why I say no.
Okay.
I've never I've worked with too many people that have, when I've asked for an explanation as to why we do something, I've been given, this is why, this is the way we've always done it, and that's the way we're going to continue to do it. And I don't believe in that one bit. If that is the best explanation you can give me, it's because you don't have a good explanation at all.
Oh, and they're just scared of change at that point.
I believe in that with my kids. If I cannot explain to my kids with a valid reason as to why I said no, then I don't have a good reason as to why I said it in the first place.
I will add, though, there gets to be some points where you're just, it's been enough. You're done asking questions.
Oh, absolutely.
It's because I said so. Now, get your ass moving.
Because kids can argue, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, guess
and
what?
They're arguing just to argue.
I've given you enough reasons explaining exactly why. That's all I need to give you. That's the decision's up.
Because I said so. Now go.
Right. Why can't we drink hot chocolate all the way up until the time we go to bed? Well, because you don't need all the sugar, you don't need it for your bodies, and because I don't need kids saying that they have tummy aches when they go to bed. Well, What if we say we don't have tummy aches? Like, no. Nope. Not going to do it. So that wraps up what happens when leaders don't listen. Right?
Yeah, I think so. I think Ben nailed it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Ben, for your response. We appreciate the input. Why is active listening so hard? Do we have a listener response for that one?
That one we did not. But I think active listening is so hard, especially right now, because it's so easy to be distracted. Phones are the death of all of us. We have them things on us constantly, and it is very easy to get disengaged from a conversation, pull out your phone and look at it. As soon as you do that, you're no longer listening. And we do that all the time, whether it's to check the time, we feel it vibrate, we thought we felt it vibrate, it's constant. And it is way too easy to be distracted. And on top of that, our minds are already distracted. We have so many things going on throughout our days. And so when you're engaged in a conversation, if you don't actively listen, if you don't make a point to listen to that person, you will drift off.
Yeah, and you won't listen to a word that they said.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's too simple for our minds to be distracted. We have to, that's why they have meditation and all these other practices to help calm your mind and everything, like
teach you how to be less distracted. I have a book that's about being less distracted.
Yeah, exactly. You take classes for focus and all of that, how to learn and things like that. And sit down and try to read for a minute. You have to seclude yourself somewhere in order to be able to read and enjoy yourself, because if there's stuff going on around you, you're paying attention to that. Cars driving by, whatever, you're going to look away, and you're not fully into what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's very easy to...
I catch myself doing that all the time. I'll sit upstairs while everybody's around reading, and I'll look up after a page and go, man, I don't remember what I just read. Because I'm focusing in on other conversations going on, or something pops up on the TV, or the dogs bark, or whatever. I get lost in a different thought for a second. It's crazy.
Have you ever had that while you're driving?
Oh,
where
yeah.
you realize
Oh, yeah.
you don't know what happened for the last 30 minutes, but you've been in your head thinking the
I
entire time.
don't, I
And
don't think I've gone 30 minutes. I've gone a few minutes, and then you're like, oh, shit. That's
yeah,
a
I mean,
scary feeling.
like, I don't remember that whole drive home.
No, I can only say I've done that a few times, and that's when I wake up in the morning and I went, oh, shit. I probably shouldn't have driven. That was a long time ago. I don't do that shit anymore.
Back in my drinking days.
I don't, yeah. I don't have entire drives I forget. I have chunks where I'll get lost in thought for a minute.
Oh yeah, there's definitely chunks of like, man,
And
I
that,
don't
yeah,
I don't
it's like,
remember that drive.
fuck. That is not a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't even be on my phone. Like, I try to leave my phone alone for the most part when I'm driving. So I'm not even getting distracted by my phone. I just get lost in thought. Especially if I'm by myself, it's so easy.
That's the same thing for me. Even with, I usually have music or a podcast playing at all times. If I'm doing chores around the house, if I'm driving, whatever. And there will be times where I didn't hear any of the podcasts, any of the songs that I listened to, just because it was going in one ear, out the other, and I had thoughts going on that were much louder than everything else.
Yep. And that happens in conversation. And that is exactly why it's so hard to actively listen. And it is truly that active listening. You have to actively participate in it. You have to make a point of going out of your way to make sure you pay attention to the conversation.
Yes. Because I find myself all the time starting a conversation, I hear part of it, and then my head trails off in a different thought. I'm like, oh shit, I haven't listened to them for a couple seconds.
Yep.
So then I have to snap back out of it and get back to what they're saying.
At home, thinking about what I need to get done the rest of the night. At work, thinking about what I need to get done the rest of the day. It's constant.
Yes.
And you have to catch yourself and go, nope, this is what's most important right now.
Yeah. I agree. I had active listening's hard because everyone defaults to their own thoughts and feelings and emotions. Narcissism is natural to a degree.
Yeah.
We're all, like you said, we're all naturally in our heads thinking about our own thoughts, our own things going on, and it's easy to think about how you feel about whatever somebody's saying to you, or think about your own completely separate topic from the conversation just because you're in your head.
Yep.
And it's normal. It's not something to be upset or ashamed about, but it's something to become aware of and try to correct it when you can.
I do wonder if it's worse here than elsewhere in America.
Oh, I guarantee it is. With everything that we've been programmed to see, from ads to billboards to just everything. Everything is built to gain our attention and distract us from everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you it is.
It is pretty sickening when you really start looking at things.
You go out to bumfuck nowhere in some fields or the woods or something where people don't pay attention to any of that shit. I guarantee you they have a lot more attention to give than we do.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
More connected to things. It is scary sometimes because, you almost feel like you're losing the human experience. It's easier than ever to connect with people, yet we're losing the human experience because it's so easy to be mean.
And it's easy to start learning, though, from that true connection with people and actually just being a genuine person with people can go a long fucking way.
Yeah.
And people have, like you said, people have lost that. too many people hide behind keyboards and can say whatever the hell they want and have whatever opinions they want and not have to actually say anything to anybody.
Yeah.
And it's
I
all
will
about you,
say,
and you don't have to listen to anything that anybody says.
and it could be just a product of the environment I have tried to keep myself in, but it does feel like there is something of a revolution, I guess you could call it, recently. There's a lot of people transitioning to a different kind of lifestyle than the one that's been around for so long. People are starting to try to get healthy, and it's not just the fad diets that I'm hearing about. It's working and trying to better yourself in order to get healthier, start exercising, eating right, things like that. Not just the fad diets and the gimmicks and things like that. I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's just a product of the environment I'm in, but it does feel like more and more prominent people are pushing the right message.
Yeah. I hear that. And yeah, I do agree. It's a lot in who you're around and the people that you surround yourself with. But yeah, it's possible. There's a lot of people just coming to realize that they can have a different way of looking at things and trying to correct.
Be better than the way they are right now.
Yes. Opening themselves to changing and doing better as opposed to being stuck in a rut, in a constant pattern and saying this is just the way that it is. Mm-hmm. People are actually taking an active role in their saving themselves,
Yeah,
fixing
exactly.
things for themselves.
Yep. And just being more open to the human experience and realizing that we're all the same. We're all the fucking same. I don't care who you are. We all deal with the same exact shit.
Nobody knows any better than anybody else unless you've had the experience. We're just all figuring it out as we go.
Exactly. 100%.
God, once you realize that nobody knows what the hell they're doing and everybody's just kind of winging it, it's freeing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I don't have to look at everybody else like everybody else has it figured out and I just am clueless. Everybody else is just trying to make it look like they have it figured out too.
Right.
But that's the realness in life.
So hopefully all of this continues to change and we see a more aggressive culture shift with the whole paying attention, and we can all become better at active listening. But yeah, I do think the distraction and just how easily we are distracted is why active listening is so hard. Sound like you agreed.
Yep. 3 is, how do you lead a team that doesn't listen?
Oh, I think the most important part of that is to figure out why they aren't listening. Are you taking over a new team that doesn't listen? If that's the case, then maybe their previous leader didn't care about what they had to say. So they don't care about the supervisor coming in because they don't care about us, so why should we care what they have to say? At that point, you have to start to build relationship and show them that you are different. You're not that same person. You're going to take them seriously, and you have to start by getting something from them and going and getting it done. Hear one thing and go get it done and to change. If your team isn't listening and you've been a leader over that team for a minute, maybe you aren't presenting the message correctly, or maybe you aren't communicating at all. Maybe you think you're communicating, but really you're not. You need to assess the situation and try to understand why they don't listen.
Yep. I've seen...
Are you leading by example? Are you listening to them? And then, are you communicating properly? You need to do
Or are you acting like you just tell them what to do and you're standing around watching it, showing them that you don't have to do anything?
Right.
Because that's a big one I've seen a lot of.
Yeah.
Where people don't feel you do anything, so why the hell should I listen to you? You don't have to do anything. Why should I have to do anything?
Exactly. And even if, you are just supposed to kind of sit there and watch what's going on, you can still bounce around, stay busy, stay looking busy, so you lead by example.
Yeah. I had learn how they listen so you can give the message in a way that they can understand.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times if you come to a new situation and you don't know the people, or you don't know how they communicate, or you don't know how they need to hear a message, you can give them the message as many times as you want, but unless you give it to them in a manner that they can receive it properly, they're not going to listen to you at all.
Right.
So if you give it in a manner that's harsh to them, even though it's not harsh to your previous team or other people that you've worked at, you just have to simply be aware of that and think, well, maybe I just need to tone it down or present it in a different way.
Yeah, it's all in communication.
So, yeah, and I think what I gathered from you was, just start to build that reputation by showing them that you can listen to them, and that will in turn cause them to listen to you because they know you listen to them. Does that make sense, or did I just talk?
No, you said it. Yes, that was it kind of depends on the situation. If you're going into a new team, it wasn't your team a minute ago, but now it is, and they don't listen, chances are it's because their leader didn't listen to them. And so they don't have respect.
So you have to show them that you're willing to listen.
Exactly. You have to lead by example. Get some task from them. Hear one person out for something they need done. Maybe it's as you walk by, you overhear somebody complaining about something, and you go out of your way to say, hey, I'm sorry I couldn't help but hear this is bothering you. Is there something I can do to help? Try to get something out of them so you can go fix it and get them to see that you're different than their previous leader.
Yep.
Otherwise, if it's your team and you've been leading them for a minute, exactly like you said, chances are you're probably communicating poorly, or you're not listening to them, and so they've just grown sick of listening to you.
Right. Yeah, I say we agree on that.
Mm-hmm. All right, Joe, how do you deal with a manager that doesn't listen?
Quit. I have quit, LOL.
I mean, it is an option if they're really, truly not listening to you. Sometimes there is nothing you can do.
Absolutely. I have, in a more professional note, approach the situation and
but hold on a second.
second.
That's not necessarily bad advice to quit, but
no,
you
absolutely.
have to
I
try.
agree.
As long as you've tried, that is not bad advice.
It's a number 2 or number 3 option. It should not be number 1.
Correct. Oh,
I just threw it out there. Yep.
Sorry, my mic just pulled out of the stand.
Oh man.
Anyways, okay. So yeah, it's not that it's bad advice. It's not bad advice at all. It just like you said, it needs to exhaust all other options before you do that.
Correct. So I have approached this situation and communicate it as professionally and respectfully as possible. So just go and say something. Say something to your manager, whoever your supervisor, whoever you're having this communication issue with, and say, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's what I feel, how I feel I'm not being heard. And I want to know what I can do to maybe present this better, or what can I do to help improve this. Offer it as you have some sort of solution, or you want to solve a problem that somebody might not be aware of. Because if you don't make it known to your manager, your supervisor, your significant other, whatever, that there's a disconnect in communication, or that they're not listening to you, they might just be unaware of it. Because I've had conversations with people where they've gotten frustrated with me and like, do you just feel like I'm not hearing what you're saying? Yes, that's all I want is for you to hear what I'm saying. Like, okay, well now I can approach this differently. Just tell me that. But I think that's the first step is just approaching them and saying, hey, look, you're not hearing what I have to say. How can we improve this? If they're not willing to do anything, or you've tried that and they don't care, or they've blown you off, or it's just gotten nowhere, you can bring, like Ben Stock said earlier, you can just go around your supervisor, go and approach
escalate.
Whoever's next in command and say,
that's the one I was looking for.
Hey, look, I've tried to communicate this. I've tried to get them to hear me. I've told them that they're not hearing me, and they still don't make any effort to. What's the next thing that I can do? And now if that escalation doesn't solve your problem, then quit.
I agree.
Because it's more than a surface issue then. There's a core issue with listening and communication. If your supervisor and their supervisor do not care about improving listening or communication.
I think you nailed it.
Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, not really. You nailed it. Talk to them. If that doesn't work, escalate. If that doesn't work, yeah.
Sayonara.
There's not much else you can do. When they don't listen, they don't listen. And
I say don't quit as a first response to it, simply because I hear the saying all the time, the grass isn't greener. The grass is greener on the other side. People think that grass is greener anywhere you go. But the reality of it is the brown spots are just in different locations. Right. So just because you're having communication
issues. I've never heard that before.
Oh, we say it all the time in our shop. Oh. Grass isn't greener somewhere else. The brown spots are just.
I have
just
never heard
locations.
That little addition. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I've heard the grass isn't always greener, but I've never heard that little add-on, and that is brilliant.
Yeah, because it sums it up. Because you can go somewhere else, and you're going to run into the exact same communication issues, the same not listening issues, or issues somewhere else. So don't immediately be willing to jump ship and trade your current problems for other problems if you're not willing to address it yourself. Because then you are at the root cause of the communication issue, not your leadership.
You're the problem, yep.
So that's why I don't say quit right off the bat, because you're doing everyone else a disservice by just jumping ship without trying to help towards finding a corrective action towards that behavior.
Yeah, just the one ad I might have, but you already kind of, in talking to somebody, if they give you advice on how you can communicate better, you have to take that. If you don't work to make any improvements on how you can communicate more clear or whatever it is, depending on the conversation you had, you don't really have any leg to stand on and argue that they don't listen, because you obviously can't either.
Exactly. And if somebody tells you how they need something presented to them, they are giving you a master key to everything. You now have 100% capability of telling them anything and they will understand it. So now you know there will not be a disconnect in communication. You know what they know, and you know what to expect from them because they understand what you're communicating. You just solved 99% of the problems in the workplace by learning how to communicate to people and just listening to what they give you, because people will tell you what you need to know.
Yeah, exactly. That wraps that one up. Which do you think is more important for a manager? Speaking accurately or listening actively? Or speaking accurately or listening actively? Sorry.
I think...
Sorry, I had to go back and correct my speech to make it accurate.
I think for a manager, it's more important to listen actively and listen well as opposed to speaking accurately. The reason I say that is simply because people can and tend to be more willing to ask for further clarification. But if you do not listen to them and they feel like you are not listening to them, they're more likely to get frustrated and give up hope. So if you listen to what people say and you actively listen, you will hear all the information that you need, and you can correct anything if there's that line of communication where they can ask for clarification. Whereas if you just tend to speak accurately and make sure everything you say is 100%, but you don't listen to somebody, you're going to be telling the truth and you're going to be speaking exactly what you think, but you're disregarding everything else. And everything else is what's at the core of what makes it run.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it kind of answers itself. You can correct speaking inaccurately by listening actively, but you cannot correct not actively listening by speaking correctly. So I think the answer is right in the way the question's asked. You can fix one with the other, but you cannot do it in reverse. So I think that tells you right there which is more important.
I would agree.
That one was easier than I thought it was going to be. That one was intimidating when I first read it, but I think it's relatively simple. And
yeah. The simple fact that you can ask for more clarification. If you don't understand something, ask. And
right, but if you're not listening, you won't know to ask for more details. So it won't matter 100%. If they're speaking clearly or accurately or not, because you're not going to fucking hear it. So, yeah, listening actively is way more important. Last question we've got. What are the benefits of leaders listening more than they talk? I think it's a multifaceted response. You build relationships because your team knows you care and you're listening to them. When you actually honestly care about them, you're going to sit there and listen to them, and so that they start to build that respect for you right away. And then 2, it helps you respond to problems going on. Your team is going to tell you when something's up. They'll be the first ones to tell you.
Right.
They don't want their jobs to be more difficult in any facet, whether it's another employee, team member that's messing around, or equipment or whatever. Your team's going to tell you. But if you're not listening, you're not going to be able to fix anything.
Yeah. I have written down, talking can get you into trouble. I've met quite a few different people, quite a few different leaders, new leaders, people new into management, people new into leading people in the military, in factories, and various work environments. And the people that tend to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk will talk themselves into holes. They will tell lies. They will try to... It just seems like a giant validation session for them every time. Mm-hmm. And you sound less intelligent the more you talk.
And you just seem you're self-centered. All you care about is you.
And you just want everybody to know what you've done, what you know. Yeah. Just validate yourself. And
you sit there and you say to yourself, God, they are so arrogant, so selfish. Just shut up already.
Right. I know from experience, those people tend to be the hardest people to get to hear your point of view. They do less listening.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they spend too much time talking. They're too caught up, willing to, or wanting to say, put in their next thought, their next opinion, that they don't hear a word that it's said to them.
Right.
So it's frustrating as all hell. It's like beating your head up against a wall, trying to get anything across to them because they don't hear a word. So that in itself is enough for me. You talk too much, you sound less intelligent, you sound like you're arrogant, and nobody's going to want to bring anything to you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows that you're closed off to other people's opinions and their viewpoints, because chances are you're already making it sound like you have it all figured out. And anybody that's been doing any of this long enough knows we don't have any of it figured out. Even if you've been doing it for a while and you think you have it all figured out, you're doing something wrong.
If you're talking, you don't know what you're missing either. You don't get to listen to somebody else and hear what they have to share. And like we've said before, there is some amazing people out there. I bet you meet one almost every single day and you have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Got to take the time to listen to people every once in a while and let them talk and be prepared to be amazed.
Yeah, you will be shocked at what you can learn about people. The experiences that people have had, where they've come from.
How amazing people are. How truly amazing people are.
A lot of good people out there.
Yeah,
you just have to be willing to
the bad
take
is
some
magnified, but
see it.
There is a lot of good out there. What do we got? What else we got, Joe? Anything?
I think that about wraps it up. Like you said, we asked the questions. Well, I think because we took a little bit of time getting the questions out and everything on this one this week, but I liked the interaction between the listeners' point of view and ours.
Absolutely.
So I liked hearing from Ben. Thanks again, Ben. We really appreciate your feedback. I want more of that. I
Please.
Want more than we have these conversations all day long and we can just have the same opinions, but we want to hear somebody else.
We will get some questions together ahead of time, like a couple weeks out, and start throwing those out. So keep an eye out for those more questionnaires like we had this past weekend. We would like to get you guys a little more involved with us. It like Joe said, it was nice today to have some other opinions to kind of chime in and maybe differ from ours a little bit. So we're excited to hear more from you guys, and yeah, take her away, Joe. Close her out.
Yeah, like Ryan brought up earlier, there's the Polar Plunge coming up. I'm going to get signed up for that here shortly, and we look forward to seeing you guys all there.
When was that?
Otherwise, February 10th.
Fifth Third Ballpark.
So, yeah, I think that about sums it up. That's sums up active listening. So, next week we're going to be back with what's our episode next week, Ryan?
That one is how to be inspiring.
So, if you know anybody that's inspiring, send them our way, because we're going to be looking for examples. I don't know anybody inspiring.
Me neither. I think I've got something special I'm going to be working on too, so a little special edition episode I've got in the works, so keep an eye out for that too. Kind of go along with this whole inspiration thing a little bit. And tie very well into the entire J2B foundation. So,
Oh, yeah.
I think that'll wrap it up.
I'm excited
Joe's
about
gonna
it.
fall asleep on me, so we'll let you guys go.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
See ya.